comes from Paul's letter to the Hebrews. And for our meditation this day, we will look at perhaps how we can do a little better locally to represent the light of Jesus in our very own town. Be reading verses 19 through 25. We have then, my friends, complete freedom to go to the most holy place. By the means of the death of Jesus, he opened for us a new way, a living way, through the curtain, that is, through his own body. We have a great priest in charge of the house of God, so let us come near to God with a sincere heart and a sure faith, with hearts that have been purified from a guilty conscience and with bodies washed clean with clean water. Let us hold on firmly to the hope we profess, because we can trust God to keep his promise. Let us be concerned for one another, to help one another, and show love, and do good. Let us not give up the habit of meeting together, as some are doing. Instead, let us encourage one another all the more, since you see that the day of the Lord is coming near. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I am thankful for my community. Not just you, who are my community. Not just East Tawas and Tawas, for they are our community. How about Ascoda? They are our community. It's kind of easy to compartmentalize when you are thinking what is yours sometimes, isn't it? God is not a compartmentalizer of human beings. Let me just toss that out right away. So today we pause to focus on being thankful for our local community. It's not enough just to share the message of hope we have, or a few of our dollar bills in the kettle this Christmas. No, we need to share actions that show people the hope we have. So perhaps ringing that bell that you walk past so often this season is a way to show the community that you listen to the needs. Let us be concerned for one another outside of these walls, and to show love, as Paul tells us, and to do good. Our outward discipleship should take the shape of action serving the needs of the community. Why? Because we're so blessed. We should intentionally address the needs of others here. We should also realize that when we serve the needs of others, don't forget, we are serving God himself. And in serving community, we should pursue not just a one-time help, but relationships with those in our community, because that's exactly what Jesus would do. Finding and sharing love with our neighbors, uncovering our common bonds, and truly listening to those people's needs in our town is what Jesus calls us to do. Back in the day, when I was a full bona fide college professor, particularly of communication studies, I used to do an exercise in my group communication class that always seemed to make an impact on students who had trouble seeing themselves as a part of a larger community, even on campus. Some of you might want to think back with me a bit. Some of you might want to listen in as a heads up. But when you're involved in campus life, particularly if you are in residence at said college, it's really easy to get compartmentalized. Even within the schools of study, first of all, there is the School of Communication, and there is the School of Fine Arts, and there is a School of Theology, and there is a School of Liberal Arts, and a School of Education. And even though you may take coursework and flutter between all of those for general core courses, etc., it was pretty interesting to me to see when the sweatshirts came out in about the end of October after the midterm that all the tribes were sporting their gear. School of Communication, hoorah, right? School of Fine Arts. Of course it was all funky and, all Jackson Pollock-like front and back. And they were very proud of that. And you'd walk across campus and it would be like they would give their secret sign to everybody in their particular school of study, and they would just kind of go to everybody else that wasn't part of that particular group. And that was kind of fun. It was kind of the way it was, and it was all done in pride and jest, but everybody realized they were one in terms of the university they belonged to. Kenny Douglas is not with us this morning. I had him on my list. I was going to wear my gold cap and my gold sweatshirt this morning to do the service, just to aggravate him. That's the kind of fun I'm talking about, right? I am stick to the guns, U of M, that's the way it is. And boy, Mr. Green Jeans, I call him over there with the green suit coat and the tie and all of that. That is a rivalry that will go on, I'm sure, probably if we're both in heaven at the same time. That's about feeling a sense of pride and belonging, right? And that is a good thing to do. But sometimes that gets a little fuzzy, particularly in a crowd of strangers, right? Aren't you a little more timid in a crowd of strangers that you don't know and you're going to be, interacting with them for a while? I don't know about you, but I don't walk in and go, U of M, boorah! I'm just not going to do that. You get the point. You want to try to wade in the water and then see if you really like these people or they think like you do, etc. Well, I have a short video this morning. It's not short, is it, Christy? It's 9 minutes, I think. Okay? We have Oh, great. Okay. I would like you, I was going to have us do it together. I'm glad that I didn't, because there's really not a lot of us. We'd all be in one group right from the get-go, and that's not fair. Okay, so I invite you to watch the very exercise I did on the screen this morning, and then I'll close. Christy? I'll sit in my own group.
It's so easy to place people in boxes, drawing lines, creating sides. There's us, and there's them. Those we feel comfortable around, and those we don't. There are those of us with many chapters, and those just starting their own stories. There's the well-to-do, and those doing what they can. There are those we share something with, and those we don't seem to share anything with.
Welcome, and thank you for coming today, guys. Today I'm going to be conducting an experiment where I'll ask you a series of questions. Now, these questions will be very personal questions.
Okay.
And for us to get a true result, I need you to be completely honest with how you respond. The first question I have is, who in here was the class clown? Who is never on time?
And then there's us. We who have tattoos. We who feel lonely. We who have been bullied. We who have bullied others. We who are madly in love. We who have overcome great adversity. And there's the lucky ones, whose team won the championship this year. We who beat cancer. And then there's all of us who are created in the image of God. And as one body, we stand together, united as one under His grace.
And there it is. Total strangers when they walked into that room. Just as I had 75 new students walk in to the space in what we called our black box. And when they entered, and I had the boxes taped on the floor, there was trepidation among those young people. Yes, even the ones that were best in class or the class clown in their high schools, when they entered as freshmen, they all had something in common. And we would end up with them all being the freshman class. And people who came from different parts in the United States, who were homesick, who were lonely, and all of those things, who had never, I'll be honest, this was Concordia University, who had never encountered a person of color before. And when we ended with the all, they did the same thing. Everybody was hugging, there was hope, and my friends, that is the message for today. It is those of us who recognize what God has done for us, don't just need to put our dollar in the kettle and call it good. Because we each have gifts. And even if we think we're physically not in the best shape to help, there's a way you can do it. And so if you would like to write a few cards, even if you can't come in a week from Tuesday, then write those cards and we'll get them into the group. Because if we stay just our own believers group, then we're not fulfilling the commandments of Jesus. Love God with your whole heart, your whole soul, and your whole mind, and love each other as yourself. Amen. This morning,